Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help answer the question, has John Cena already ruined wrestling? I'm your host, Ash Sharpley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Terrible main event.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but maybe that was on purpose, because his goal is to ruin wrestling, as he said in the press conference.
I don't care.
How else do you ruin wrestling by ruining the biggest main event of all time? Check out WrestleMania on Netflix. There were a lot of other good matches though. You didn't watch any of it.
I've watched most of the day one.
Day one.
And I like the main event there, and I like the women's match, even though I hate Charlotte. What else do I like? What else is day one? I can't remember. I like some of day one. I didn't like the tag match, I'll tell you that.
The main event, the
main event was good. Triple threat was good. That was a good match. It was a good match with a good finish.
Night 2, need to watch the opener, the women's championship match. Ripley, Belair, Io Sky. And then the Intercontinental Championship match as well. That was also good. I ended up skipping. So obviously we got a discussion up for the last episode of The Last of Us. Obviously, WrestleMania happening at the same time. So I just kept checking when 11 o'clock would come around. And that's when the AJ Styles Logan Paul match started. I'm like, I can just skip that. And then the women's tag match played. And then the episode ended just before the main event. Thanks Stone Cold for coming out and nearly injuring someone in the crowd.
What's he do? I saw he come out in these ATV and just fucked around. Is that that's all?
I mean, he came. You know how they always come out with the crowd attendance. That's what it was there.
There's 120 billion people here. It's a new record.
Yeah.
Every year.
So.
Crazy.
Anyway, on today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be discussing what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving you this week's top 3, and giving some thumbs to trailers. Kicking things off, we've been following over on All New Markcast the first season of Daredevil Born Again. Just came to its conclusion with the finale this past week. Dylan, do you want to give your overall thoughts on Daredevil Born Again?
I think it was an overall enjoyable season. However, it's a very mixed bag, and especially by the time you look retrospectively at the season, between the first episode, the last episode, the middle episode, you can just see the new show creatives come in. Let's rewrite the scripts. Let's start again. Let's go from this is a 20 episode season to a 9, even though we're filming season 2 straight away. So it really feels like they were like, just fuck it, let's get some episodes out there. Yeah, I still enjoyed it. I'm glad to have Daredevil back. Obviously the main two people we get to see return are Charlie Cox and John Bernthal. I think the biggest disappointment is not seeing as much of the other characters who we only see barely throughout the season. Obviously you get a lot more of Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah, that's the other main one. So, but your two key figures are there, and that's sort of what carries the season, is just because they're really good at playing those characters at this point after the Netflix series. But as far as like scripts and story goes, I don't think it touches the other 3 seasons. I would like put this as the worst season out comparatively.
Yeah, obviously I enjoyed the season. I've been a bit more fresh to the Netflix, the Daredevil universe that's been built. I don't know if it's worse than the Netflix series. I think it's obviously going for something different. It's setting up a whole new world. Like, it's obviously been they've varied in how long after the Netflix show they've said it. Time has passed and that kind of stuff. So you need to set up new stakes and kind of the building up of Fisk as a even bigger threat this season. I think they've handled really well. And it definitely feels like they're playing the long game a little bit with. Well, admittedly, this first season is a lot of cleanup because of changes they've made and adjustments and that kind of stuff. But clearly they ended at a point where they wanted to end, and then set up for hopefully a really stellar second season, because everything's there in place. Charlie Cox fantastic, Vincent D'Onofrio is fantastic. John Bernthal, when we get to see him, is great. it's been fun watching Daredevil week and talking about it. So check out our spoiler casts for Daredevil Born Again over on All New Marvelcast. All right, so we both went out to see the big release of this week, and it is a big release. Huge opening weekend. The first horror movie to ever get an A cinema score. Ryan Coogler's latest film, Sinners, which follows. How would I describe Sinners?
You can try.
I can try. So it centers around
It's La La Land, but a horror movie. It's my
It's all about blues.
Yeah.
So we follow what's the kid's name? Sammy Preacherborn Moore, a younger man played by Miles Kansan in 1932, Mississippi.
Yeah.
His father's a preacher, and he goes to work with his two cousins, identical twins, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, who have returned to Mississippi and starting a juke joint in a former sawmill. So it follows their day as they're about to, set up this space specifically for Black people to enjoy their stuff, but vampires.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that.
That's accurate.
That's what I got from the trailer. So,
so Dylan, what did you think of Sinners?
Yeah, it's sensational. I think it's easily the best movie we've had so far this year. That said, I went into this expecting to like it based on the trailer. It's nothing like the trailer. And I'm taking that as a positive thing. I was like, I can't believe somehow Ryan Coogler got permission to make this movie, because I feel like he sold people with the trailer and was like, yeah, I'm just going to make a fucking vampire movie or something, then deliver something completely different, which I thought was
spend an hour doing a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Vampires show up.
So good. Look, so without full spoilers, this movie spends a long time at the start just introducing its characters and this time period and what's happening in their lives and what's happening in the world. And I loved it. I thought it was great. It's shot beautifully. It's got all these fantastic performances. Michael B. Jordan plays these two different characters sensationally. Everyone we introduced is great, and I like them, and I wanted to know more. And honestly, by the time we get to the nighttime and they're setting up for the juke joint or club, or if you want a modern day term it, I forgot that I was going into the even knowing that there was a vampire movie coming. It feels like half an hour, 45 minutes before they're at the thing and they're having a good time, and I'm just intrigued by the romance that you get introduced when Haley Steinfeld's character comes in, the romance we get with Smoke's character. I can't remember what is the actress? Maybe I can find it quickly. No, maybe I can't.
Kunumi Masaku. Kunumi.
Yeah, well, his interest, his love interest.
Annie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you've got all that. I was just into the movie, and then the movie does a split moment where it cuts away to a vampire running from with the thing. I'm like, oh, that's right. There's a vampire movie to come here.
Dude burning.
Yeah, which I was like, oh yeah, that's great. But it's just, it's really hard to talk about sports. But there is a scene in this film, a musical scene, and this is the scene that I think everyone will be talking about, where Sammy the Preacher just starts playing in this place, and just it's sort of like music comes to life, past, present, future, and it is like nothing I don't think I've seen before. It is really, really good, and made me wish that I could see this on, because it was shot for IMAX. A lot of scenes are shot for IMAX and stuff like that. That was one of those moments where I'm really glad I'm watching this in cinema. Appreciate that. That's great. Glad I'm here supporting this film.
Yeah,
really
wishes he could.
Yeah, I really wish I was just watching this on a bigger screen, as big a screen as I could possibly see, because it was really, really something special. And how this movie, I think, intertwines all its elements by the end, while still having a fun vampire flick, while having this really, like, the fact that the vampire dudes, this, like, I don't it's hard to, like,
There's some interesting tweaks to vampire canon, I guess.
there's a lot of interesting tweaks of vampire canon, but I just think, yeah, the way this film manages to intertwine vampire canon and tell a really interesting, really well thought out vampire movie, while also having, like, that you could just watch and take it for that, by also having, like, a really good, I guess, narrative that you could dive in deeper on race,
Yeah.
and, like, Black history in America or the world, I guess, using those like using the vampires to, like, tell that, especially with the music, the choices of music that, like, in particular, that character, the how that character is almost like trying to steal their culture. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I don't want to.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. Like, it's super effective. Like, a little bit scared. Obviously, but I think the worst of it was, well, there was probably one pretty bad jump scare later on when somebody's reaching out at a certain point, about to give somebody some money, and then,
Yep. Mhm.
but it's the
Like, you didn't see that coming, but that's fine.
I did see coming, he might not have turned,
Okay.
but no, it was the first thing was the flashbacks that Sammy has at the start.
Mm.
That the imagery of that was the jump scare.
Yeah, okay.
It just popped up out of nowhere, but that's a legitimate jump scare. But yeah, I thought really effective. Like, obviously, we do spend that first hour or so like getting to know these characters and you kind of learning about the history and that kind of stuff. And obviously, these two twin brothers had a decorated history in Mississippi and connections and that kind of stuff. They definitely are different characters, even though they're being both portrayed by Michael B. Jordan. Like,
like, it is impressive to do a movie like this, and like you can literally finish it and be like, no, they felt like completely different characters. And
yeah, I think for the most part it worked. Like them both being appearing on screen. The only thing at the start, there's that scene where they're sharing cigarettes between each other.
yeah,
The timing is a little bit off because they'll
do
both
the
like
we're
linger
touching thing.
with cigarettes for a second or two, and then the other one will pick it up.
They're trying to do we're doing the thing. We're trading backwards and forwards. An object.
Yeah,
it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, it's difficult. So, yeah, I thought really great. Like, fantastic score. Like, Ludwig Göransson probably he'll get nominated again, you assume. And I think Miles Canton, who's appearing in his first film.
Yeah, at the end where it said introducing, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
What is he was doing something before. Let's see. Because I believe he's an R&B. He's a singer.
Yeah.
He learned guitar for Sinners. He was working. He was a background singer or performing with her, I believe, on tour, and he took this role. So,
crazy.
But yeah,
again, without spoilers. So you knew, because I wrote in the chat whatever my funny, like, little cinema story, which is, so here's what I'll say, but again,
I'd seen people mention it before you.
Okay.
So you don't get that much credit.
Oh, fuck you. Without going too deep into it, this movie ends, quote unquote, starts some credits. Now, I know some people are going to call it a mid-credit scene. I'm calling bullshit on that. This movie has a little bit of credits, and then it continues for about 10-15 minutes and has what I'll just call an epilogue. Like, that is not an after credit scene. That is just a straight up epilogue. Now, no one in my cinema, I'd say roughly 20 people were in the cinema with me. Everyone left before that scene started playing, which I keep thinking about, and to me is wild. Those people all left, have no idea that last 15-20 minutes of the movie happens. I think it's fine if you miss the actual after credit scene, which is what after credit scenes used to be, which is just a nice little cap on the movie, a little snippet on the movie, not some like setting up what's to come Marvel bullshit. It's just a little snippet thing. But that is an epilogue that feels like you're missing the full story.
Yeah, you're definitely missing a piece, and definitely the motivation for why that person is at the position they're at that point in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you could imagine. At least my cinema, the lights didn't come off. up. So, I'm sure people realized the movie hadn't quite finished.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there is a musical sequence or a performance taking place with credits playing over it. But there is a scene post the performance finishing, I guess is the easiest way to describe the transition. So yeah, if you missed that, I'm sorry, you need to go back and watch it again.
Wow, it is such a good epilogue too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, I feel like it definitely impacts the meaning of the film dramatically, So yeah, fantastic movie. Obviously has done really well at the box office. I believe 61 million global opening weekend, Wikipedia says.
Glad.
On a 90 to $100 million budget, apparently. Pretty good for a unknown brand new property. I think I read somewhere like the biggest debut for an unknown like original thing in a long time. So yeah, Ryan Coogler can pretty much do whatever he wants next.
I'm just so glad this was good, to be honest. Like after because obviously after Fruitvale Station, he's been in IP.
Yes.
This is his first non-IP thing since Fruitvale. And he went to a genre film still, but he did such a good job of it. So
yeah, all right. So I just watched the first episode of The Rehearsal season 2. So we all remember The Rehearsal from back in 2022, in which Nathan Fielder would do elaborate sets with a bunch of actors helping people rehearse real life situations, from some very trivial stuff like revealing someone's actual education history to his trivia friends, or trying to teach someone what it's like to actually raise a child. This season has a little bit more of a focused plan, it seems, at least from this debut episode.
It's about helping us, really. It's about helping Trump.
So Nathan Fielder is trying to help the aviation industry, because he's apparently, like in canon of the story, loves to check like the explanations behind plane crashes.
Why'd you say that in canon? Like, you don't believe he's just doing that?
I listen. I'm open, but I really don't believe Nathan Fielder, who is a very busy dude who did like a whole season of another TV show.
No, I believe. Okay.
Here we go. Nathan Fielder studies airline black box transcripts in which the first officer feels too intimidated to challenge the captain, leading to fatal crashes due to pilot error. So he goes through these transcripts, has reenactments with actual people within a plane, like doing these things, and is talking to the former National Transportation Safe Board member, who who had recommended roleplay simulation as something that could help, people in the pilot community, to help pilots communicate better. So the idea is that the first officer should, if the captain is doing something wrong, take over and correct it. But there's shitty communication between them. That's the first officer doesn't feel like they can do their job properly. And that leads to a lot of pilot error, thus leading to a bunch of crashes. And not really comedy content. As Nathan points out, as he's like, hey, I've got a bunch of money to like put into like these rehearsal things. The only issue really is that I've told HBO this is going to be a comedy series. So, and to like emphasize his point, he like does a scene where a clown car has fallen. Like there's a clown like who's like it's not Kieran, but he's changing a tire on his car, and the clown car has fallen on him, and he's screaming, "Oh no! Get help! It's fallen on me!" And everybody's treating him like a clown instead of like it being an actual serious situation. That's what Nathan Fielder feels like it is. So now he's trying to do this, contacting like the different airline services to ask if he can like access and that kind of stuff. Of course, like doing rehearsals of the conversations beforehand and that kind of thing. And then he also he gets an actual pilot and like follows him through his day, through airports and that kind of stuff, and like gets into his personal relationships and that kind of stuff. It's definitely not laugh out loud funny. I'll definitely say that, but it is very interesting and amusing, and I definitely want to see how this all plays out. So the rehearsal. I mean, I'm keen to hear your thoughts when you get around to watching it, because
I'm definitely going to catch up. Definitely watch, of course. That's
Just-
one of our favorite shows of the year. So.
it was fantastic. But yeah, so, again, like
Hearing you explain it similar to, but the thing is, like, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I mean, it's like
it's definitely one of those shows you need to see to understand.
Yeah,
his dry humor and context and delivery and that kind of stuff. That is a major factor. So, yeah. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Unless you've watched anything else this week that you haven't checked into.
I don't think so.
All right. So I watched a documentary called Gold and Greed: The Hunt for Fenn's Treasure. So there was a man called Forrest Fenn. He was a former Air Force pilot, and then he apparently flew in for Vietnam for like 328 missions or something. When he retired, he started a gallery with his partner, and they've like got a bunch of like paintings and bronze statues and artifacts and that kind of stuff. So then in 1988, he was diagnosed with cancer, and it was told it was likely going to be terminal. So he had this idea that he would, he would hide a treasure chest in the like outdoors, and then that would be both his final resting place and like a treasure hunt for people to go on. But
This
he
is
ended
the
up.
plot of Ready Player One.
I mean, but unfortunately, he recovered from his his illness. So instead, in 2020, he self-published a book called The Thrill of the Chase, a memoir, a collection of short stories about his life, and included a poem leading people to a treasure that he buried or like placed in the wilderness, with a bunch of like gold nuggets and rare coins and jewelry and that kind of stuff. And like
Charizard First Edition.
Yeah, and then put the book out, and then people have obviously been hunting for this treasure for a very long time.
No one's found it? Was that what it's about?
Spoilers, it has been found, but
yeah, sure.
It kind of, the documentary goes into kind of the entire story of why he went into this.
I was ready to go hunting. You know what I mean? Like, you better tell me they found it. Oh, okay. Where am I going, Ash?
America for a start.
Oh, fuck.
That might be an issue.
That feels unsafe.
Yeah, so they, go through his motivations and that kind of stuff. He was very TV friendly. He would appear on the Today Show several times, giving extra clues.
Like poem clues, like riddle
that kind
clues?
of stuff.
Like what are we?
No, it's not in the treasure is not in this state or this state.
Okay, right.
And so stuff like that.
States, so
really only 48 to choose from there.
Yeah.
So then they're also interviewing
53 if you count Greenland. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck it. They interviewed like a bunch of people who like treasure hunting during this period, and like people who have devoted like up to 10 years of their life chasing this treasure, and that kind of stuff. It goes into a lot of the controversies around it because a lot of people died like hunting this treasure. Like
how?
Like it's in the wilderness, and a bunch of people who are not used to going into the wilderness went out into the wilderness, and they kind of holds Fenn's treasure responsible. And then it also goes into the impact it had on his family, because like people would like stalk them and that kind of stuff, like trying to get extra clues or information. And like one crazy stalker dude believed that Fenn's treasure was actually his granddaughter. So like, I want to claim your granddaughter. Pretty messed up stuff. And yeah, obviously going through to the chest eventually being found, but the community not believing it.
Really?
And how
people are still looking?
No, well,
they did for a while.
Maybe or maybe no, they've kind of stopped. But is interesting. Like, this might be a bit of a spoiler, but there's one dude who's featured throughout the entire documentary really loved the treasure hunt and like felt like it was an important thing as part of his life. So he has done his own treasure hunts and placed a chest of jewels and platinum and gold and a piece of meteor somewhere.
So he was hunting for all this stuff, but he was rich anyway? He just did it for the thrill of the hunt?
Yeah, I think he just did it for the thrill of a hunt. He was like a software person, so I think he was pretty well off. He shot in front of like 5 monitors, so I'm pretty sure he's pretty well too.
Don't make me laugh.
Yeah, he has started his own hunt, and has included clues within the Netflix series apparently.
Oh,
so if you're an American wanting to get into this,
how's this show not number one? I feel like that's the sort of thing that everyone would grab onto.
It's a certain community, I think. So, I thought it was a really fascinating story. Like very lots of twists and turns. I ended up staying up till like 1:30, like watching all 3. Only 3 episodes long. Hour each, yeah. So really enjoyable. I had a good time. Yeah. Check that one out. And then I also watched the Diamond Heist documentary that I talked about the other week. About a bunch of British criminals trying to steal an enormous diamond from the Millennium Dome. This one not as interesting. Which is kind of fine. Obviously, it's a lot of it being retold from different perspectives. You've got a lot of the people who are actually kind of involved in the actual crime, talking about how they were planning to do it and the process and that kind of stuff. And then you've got law enforcement who were on their trail pretty much from day dot the entire time, retelling their perspective. Like it was not really that engaging overall, because the trailer that made it look really cool, because obviously it goes from producer Guy Ritchie and then like cutting it like it's almost like a Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and that kind of stuff. So
is this Netflix as well?
This is also Netflix, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was all right. Not particularly engaging, but a solid one of these kind of documentaries, and an odd story. It probably could have been cut down to like a feature length film, like 2 hours or something like that. So, all right, that's everything. Now, watch history. Let's move into a little bit of film news. And this weekend, we saw Star Wars Celebration in Japan. Obviously, this is the massive, Star Wars convention in which they, do occasionally announce stuff. Normally, it does take place every 2 years. Next one
was yearly when they were
initially, and then I think they slowed down.
Yeah, when they're like that
when the
Force Awakens,
when the new trilogy was coming out.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
When Disney was sure that Star Wars was going to be the next hot thing.
Yeah, when they were like, Star Wars will be hot again.
Slowed down a little bit. But yeah, every 2 years, obviously, this year in Japan, in 2 years it's going back to LA, they announced. But there are some interesting announcements made over the weekends. Kicking things off, we got confirmation of Sean Levy's upcoming Star Wars film. The movie called Star Wars Starfighter will hit theaters in May 2027, and it will star Ryan Gosling, who made his Star Wars Celebration debut in Tokyo, met with a roaring applause and cheers from the crowd.
To be fair, they would roar and cheer for everything.
For anybody.
Yeah.
Here's the janitor.
Yeah, I'm fucking. Yeah.
Yeah. How do we feel? Starfighter.
Yeah. Look,
set post Rise of Skywalker and featuring entirely new characters.
I'm gonna be honest. At this stage, I'm pretty much just okay with nearly everything. Like, you could tell me any. I think you could tell me nearly. Here's my asterisk. Nearly any director, and any title, and any rough place, other than if it was set during that fucking between episode 4 and 5 or
during
like
the original trilogy or
the original, any of these like if you a few asterisks, you could tell me anything and I'm gonna be keen, only because I just want, like, can you just Stop worrying about making perfect movies that are going to make billions and millions, trillions, additional dollars. And can you just make Star Wars movies? Can you just make some fucking movies and put them on the screen? You know what I mean? Like, because at this stage we hear about so many and then nothing happens. Just make a fucking movie.
Well,
Please let me go watch a Star Wars movie on the screen. I love Ryan Gosling, obviously, so I'm in. Just make a drive with Star Wars. I don't know. Like,
well, they are definitely making a movie because they had a panel dedicated to the
that
Mandalorian
doesn't
and
mean
Grogu.
shit these days. Oh no, yeah, no, that one's fine. They've shot that one. Yeah, that's fine.
Obviously, revealed many details about the upcoming film, including hints about the story. Information about Sigourney Weaver's character was gleaned through footage and behind-the-scenes pictures. Weaver will play someone in the New Republic who hires Din Djarin for a special mission. Also, they saw new footage of Jeremy Allen White's Rotto the Hutt, who apparently is a buff gladiator.
Love that for him.
Do you know? What is a buff Hutt going to look like?
Why?
No?
Don't know.
Keen for that. Sorry, this article's got like just all announcements, so it's a lot of books.
Fucking books. Nerds read. Don't read books.
Yeah. We got some new details about the upcoming Tales of Underworld. It will explain how Ventress. Apparently, the episodes focus on Asajj. The episode that they showed there focused on Asajj Ventress and picks up right after where Dark Disciple left off. Importantly, the episode explains how Ventress lives from the events of that book and goes on to feature in the Bad Batch season 3 eventually.
Yeah. So you might. I'm sure I mentioned this when we talked about that, but like that book, she's dead, and then she randomly showed up in that show, and I was like, "Great to see you, Sarge, but you're supposed to be dead."
Yeah. So, of course, Tales of the Underworld premieres May 4th.
I think that's all at once too. I don't know if it says that. Does it say that?
I'm pretty sure it's all at once. Yeah, that's like all of those type of miniseries that they've done. It'll all be at once.
All at once. I'm okay for that.
We did obviously celebrating 20 years of Star Wars animation, which is crazy. So that would be going back all the way to the original Clone Wars.
These days, I think you can look at the history of Star Wars and Star Wars animation. I think you can you could justifiably say is the glue that kept the franchise together.
Kept it running, going.
Kept it running, yeah. Like I know people could be like, yeah, there was books and stuff, but I'm like, no, the animation was what kept I think the fandom alive through when there was nothing, you
know. We did get an announcement of the next Star Wars animated series, Maul Shadow Lord. Will take place between the events of the Clone Wars and Rebels and follow Maul as he charts a path in the criminal underworld of the galaxy. The trailer shown to the crowd at Celebration revealed that Rook Kast returns and that Maul takes on a Twi'lek apprentice. This Twi'lek apprentice looks suspiciously like that of a young Darth Talon, the Sith Lord from the expanded universe that George Lucas originally planned as one of the villains, alongside Maul in his version of the sequel trilogy. What are your thoughts on a Maul animated series coming up?
I know this is me potentially like sometimes to say things and then I say things
immediately get it wrong. Like this is being set exactly in the period that you said you don't want stuff being set in.
Correct, but I'm keen for this. Yeah, I know.
Who's Rook Kast?
He is one of Death Watch, I think. Oh no, let's Google it. I think he's part of Death Watch. Was it Rus? What did I say his last name is?
Kast. K-A-S-T.
K-A-S-T. Star Wars. Rook Kast is a human female Mandalorian warrior who led the Shadow Collective Super Commandos during the Clone Wars. After Maul, leader of the Shadow Collective, was imprisoned by the Sith. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so not but roughly, yeah, Mandalorian still. I was on the right track. Yeah, part of Maul's group of Mandalorians, basically.
Yeah.
Later, Kast participated in the siege of Mandalore and helped lure an unsuspecting Ahsoka Tano into the Undercity. There, she and several other commandos surrounded the former Jedi Padawan for Maul, but she eventually managed to escape. Shortly afterwards, Super Commandos managed to capture blah blah blah. Maul managed to rally the Mandalorians for one last push, but this led to defeat and Kast's capture at the hands of Bo-Katan Kryze. So yeah,
interesting. Yeah, sounds cool. You know, obviously, for a lot of people, they don't remember. Most people, they think Maul, they think episode 1, and that's where his story ended.
Yeah.
But yeah, to kind of get, I'm assuming we're going to get it kind of explained where he went from end of Clone Wars to where he shows up in Solo through to eventually where he pops up in Rebels.
Yeah, and definitely fine with that. Like, especially in a world where they had such a cool reveal at the end of Solo,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're not going to get any more of that live action because that movie bombed and they never did anything with it. So I thought this can like pick up some threads of that. It can also, like the Mole's, Mole is mentioned in the background of a lot of things they've been doing, comics books, even the game, obviously, Outlaws and stuff. But yeah, it's just like what happens.
Yeah,
It's a story, and it's a story in a time period I know I just said I don't care about, but he's a character that I care enough about to allow it.
yeah. I also saw a snippet of Sam Witwer getting interviewed and like him talking about a lot of ideas that he pitched to Dave Filoni, I guess, during the Clone Wars about things for Maul. It's like, yeah, but that would only work if it was Maul's show.
Yeah.
So all these ideas could potentially come into this. So.
Maul is such an interesting character because in the movie, obviously, he's just presented as this silent, nothing, like, and that's all he was supposed to be. But when they brought him back in the Clone Wars, and was able to like do his story of like, you sort of sided with him because you saw him wanting to get revenge against Palpatine, as like, or even fucking jeez, I'm having a bad day for names. I'll tell you what, I think I'm losing my mind, to be honest. Dooku, sorry. But and then when we he gets introduced to his brother, and you get to see his background and his family and all this, learn about how he was raised. Like there's so much more to that character that makes a show like this interesting, and Sam did such a good job, I think, of bringing that character to life with his voice work. Like he has done some, that's probably some of his best work, to be honest. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I do think him playing Maul is probably some of his best work, full stop, in live action or voice work, whatever you want to rate him on. But yeah, so definitely keen.
Cool. They had an Andor panel in which they talked. They got to watch the first episode, which is coming out this week. Very exciting. Go check out Holocron Entries later today when this episode comes out. I don't know how quickly we're going to get turned around.
I don't know. We're going to watch 3 episodes.
But yeah,
so.
There's a pretty good chance by the time you listen to this, it's up. Or just subscribe to Holocron Entries and get notified when the episode does come up. Ahsoka 2, Season 2 is about to head into filming. Apparently, Hayden Christensen will appear once more in the second season. And then they showed a first look at Rory McCann as Balin Skull, replacing the late Ray Stevenson. And also, apparently, Admiral Akbar will play a bigger role in Season 2. And, quote, go head-to-head with Thrawn.
That's a trap.
It is a trap. Fuck. I don't know that I saw this image before from the Fortnite Star Wars crossover, where it's Jar Jar Binks, like, doing Force Lightning. Fucking terrifying. So then, probably in, like, a surprisingly good move, or, like, makes sense, given the show was taking place in Japan. Big updates on some anime projects that are coming from Star Wars. Of course, we know that Star Wars Visions Volume 3 is coming and is set to feature a bunch of Japanese studios again. But Lucasfilm announced a new label called Star Wars Visions Presents, an opportunity to give more room to the animation studios and bigger scope to tell their stories. The first of these will be The Ninth Jedi, which will be getting an entire limited series on the Disney Plus streaming service in 2026. Kenji Kamiyama, who directed the original Ninth Jedi short, and also made the recent Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim movie, will return to oversee the production of the new limited anime series. However, fans can delve deeper into the world of the Ninth Jedi much sooner, as Star Wars Volume 3 will include a sequel episode that bridges into the upcoming show. So if you don't remember the Ninth Jedi, it follows a girl called La Cara, whose father is a famous lightsaber smith. She recovers the lightsaber. I can't remember. We probably need to rewatch. the 3 specific episodes that are getting sequels.
Probably would need to, yeah.
But yeah, obviously, they realized that this has been kind of this big success. Obviously, there was the Ronin book, I believe, that was pretty well received post Star Wars Visions. So them kind of tackling more of these stories, I think, is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm keen. More Star Wars is good. That's what, just make more Star Wars. Let some things be bad. Let some things be average. But let it be good. Let it be niche. Let it be a target audience. Like let's just get out there, have some fun. The War of Rohirrim movie animation, great story. Wise, okay. My only worry I'd have is I did feel like that movie had some it's just pacing was a little bit off the rhythm of that movie. So, yeah, I don't know.
They also said that we were going to get 2 other sequels in Star Wars Visions Volume 3. We'll be getting a sequel to The Village Bride. Village Bride is the Lost Ones, a tragic follow-up short about the people who lost their families and children during the Order 66 mass slaughter of the Jedi Order. And we'll also be getting a sequel to The Duel Payback, which will be a continuation of that story, which featured the before-mentioned Ronin. So, 2 fan favorite.
Do you feel like we actually need sequels to these stories? You know what I mean? Like it's just.
The
whole point is a standalone, and we're doing.
I do, but if they got a cool idea, why not? Okay. And then they showed off some of the artwork for some of the other animated shorts in Visions Volume 3. So yeah, that was kind of it. There was some other.
Remember when we had Star Wars Acolyte? Remember that? That was exciting.
I do.
Remember that they brought Jenny. What's his name? Gianni Macedo?
Manny Jacinto?
What did I say?
I don't know.
Gianni, I think I said. Manny, they brought him out at Star Wars. I was like, I'm glad everyone loves you. That's great. I'm glad everyone's cheering for you because they cancelled your show.
Yeah.
It's great. It just made me feel bad. Yeah. Not for him, but just for me because I don't get the show. And I was enjoying it.
That was kind of it. The other interesting piece of news was they gave an update on Taika's upcoming Star Wars film.
It's never happening.
Well, who knows? But the interesting tidbit was that Tony McNamara, the writer of Poor Things and frequent collaborator with
that guy. Yeah, Poor Things and whatever.
With
Dogtooth.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yep.
Is penning the script with Taika, which is very interesting to see their brand of humor coming together.
This movie won't happen.
Who knows? Anything is possible. Yeah. Excited for more Star Wars in your future?
Am I excited for more Star Wars?
Yes, more Star Wars.
Yeah, I am this week because I get good Star Wars and/or
guaranteed good Star Wars.
I'm guaranteed some good Star Wars ones.
Yep. All right.
That's exciting.
That is exciting.
Over in 4 weeks though, fuck me.
It is it's rough.
It is rough. You wait so long to get something good, and then they just blast through it like that. They treat it like I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy, but they treat it like shit. No.
Dylan, every week there's so many new announcements of films and casts. It's hard to cover it all, so we like to cover some of these in a segment we call Would You Want to Invest? I'll list a project and give details about it, and Dylan will tell me if you would fully invest, partially invest, or not invest in these projects, and then history will be the judge if he was right or wrong. You ready to jump into it?
I feel like I haven't had an update for a while. I know I say this sometimes.
Yeah. I know I said, maybe I'll get it done by the start of the year. Didn't happen.
It's been a while. I just want to say, I don't know if I've got money, you know what I mean? Like, I got bills to pay out.
With the fictional money, yes. Yes, I will endeavor to do that eventually when I remember. Kicking things off, reading this from Deadline. Pete Davidson is in negotiations to co-star opposite Nicholas Hoult in Amazon MGM Studios' How to Rob a Bank from director David Leitch. Leitch is directing with insiders saying the film will be released in theaters. Plot details are being kept under wraps, but given Leitch's current track record of delivering on big thrills and fun set pieces into films like Bullet Train, Deadpool, and Deadpool 2, and more recently The Fall Guy, expects to have something similar in scope. If I had to guess, someone is going to rob a bank.
Yeah, I'll fully invest. I feel like that's just money, right? You know?
Because they're robbing a bank.
Got him.
Amazon MGM Studios Orion Pictures has rounded out the cast of Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. Its new film
Hey, leave her my fucking mouth.
Its new film teaming Mahershala Ali with Mogul Mowgli filmmaker Basim Tariq, on which we recently first reports. Newcomers including John Cho, Giancarlo Esposito, Abu Bakar Ali, Trammell Tillman, Tiffany Boone, Laith Nackley, and Ida and Jalil Kamara. The plot of the film and character breakdowns being kept under wraps. Tariq is directing from his own script and producing alongside Lucan To and Babak and Vari.
Oh, that was a lot of names. And
There's a lot of names, not a lot of information.
Not a lot of information. So I'm going to say no. No investment.
No investment. Netflix and Jennifer Lopez are building on their strong partnership for the superstar's next project with plans to team her with an iconic director. Sources tell Deadline that Oscar winner Robert Zemeckis is coming to direct an adaptation of The Last Mrs. Parrish with Lopez on board to star. The film is in development with Oscar nominee Andrea Berloff and Oscar nominee John Gatins penning the script. This marks a reunion for Zemeckis and Gatins, who worked together on the Oscar-nominated Denzel Washington drama Flight. Based on the Liv Constantine novel, the story follows a con artist who targets a wealthy family, the Parishes, as her next victim. She infiltrates the pair by befriending the wife and seducing the husband with a master plan of becoming the next Mrs. Parrish, only to discover that the wife's life is far more complicated than she could have imagined.
That's a no invest. Jennifer Lopez, not a good lead in anything in IMO. 2, Robert Zemeckis has not made a good movie in who knows how long. Pairing the two of them, I'm
pretty sure we said when we talked about his last movie, and it was a long time ago. I remember when we talked about, what was his last one?
His last one was here.
Here. We talked about that.
Which was okay.
Yeah, we went through his filmography and it took a while to get to.
It took a while to get something where you're like, that was really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a pairing made for disaster. I'm going to say no.
Disaster's a bit harsh, but all right.
You won't see.
Joel Kinnaman. Fucking ad. Joel Kinnaman is the latest to join the cast of Imperfect Women, Apple's limited series based on Araminta Hall's novel, starring and executive produced by Elizabeth Moss and Kerry Washington. Kate Mara has also stars in the series adaptation penned by Annie Weissman, an unconventional psychological thriller examining a crime that shatters the lives of a decade-long friendship of 3 women. Imperfect Women is described as a mystery complicated by perspective that explores guilt and retribution, love and betrayal, and compromises we make that alter our lives irrevocably. As the investigation unravels, so does the truth about how even the closest relationships can change over time. The book tells the story of Nancy Hennessy, who is murdered and leaves behind 2 best friends, an adoring husband and daughter, and a secret lover whose identity she took to the grave. Nancy was gorgeous, wealthy, and cherished by those who knew her. From the outside, her life was perfect, but as the investigation into her death flounders and her friends Eleanor and Mary wrestle with her grief, dark details surface that reveal how little they knew their friend, each other, and maybe even themselves.
We'll give it a partial invest. I mean, you said Apple, right?
Apple.
Yeah, I mean that adds some. I feel like Apple's a like whoever the main producer, over there. I feel like they have a
good judges of content.
Yeah, so I'll go partial.
All right. A24 has boarded Jesse Eisenberg's next film behind the camera, the untitled musical comedy starring Julianne Moore and Paul Giamatti, on which we were first reported in November. Sources said this was a worldwide negative pickup in the vein of the studio's deal for Heretic. The film follows a shy woman who is unexpectedly cast in a community theatre production, going to extremes as she loses herself in the role. Production kicks off this month with Halle Bailey, Havana Rose Liu, and Bernadette Peters among the newcomers to the cast.
No invest.
Wow.
I feel like A24, maybe I've got to start being harsh on. Also, at what point did I ever feel like Jesse Eisenberg could do a musical? Do you know it's very hard to do a musical? I'm gonna say very hard to do a musical, which is why La La Land's so good. Very hard to do a musical. I don't think that's. I don't see it personally. I don't see it.
All right.
I'm happy to be proven wrong. I just feel like that's a like if you were like he's filming like if you said he was doing Gladiator 3, I'm like massive action movie. I'm like, you can learn that. Good musical. Some people just don't have rhythm. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like he has a theater background, so
Okay, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
yeah. The upcoming remake of Ghosts in Australia is shooting in Perth, with the cast list taking shape. The 8-part series announced last year is from BBC Studios Australia and will be for Network 10 and Paramount Plus. It's filming on set and on location in Western Australia with actor talent including Mandy McElhenney and Brent Hill, and the investment from Screen West and the state's Western Australian production attraction incentive. Like other versions of Ghosts, the plot revolves around a couple who inherit a huge and historic mansion in the countryside, with Tamala playing Kate and Rowan Witt appearing as her partner Sean. After Kate has a near-death experience, she gains the power to see ghosts who get up to supernatural shenanigans around the house. McElhenney will play Irish potato famine survivor, mother of 13, and publican Eileen. He will play a stoic naval captain Gideon. Irons English plays 1900s socialite and bride-to-be Miranda. Michelle Brazier plays a vibrant 1980s aerobics instructor Lindy. George Zhao is a young Gold Rush-era Chinese miner June, and Jackson Tozer is Satan, a misunderstood 1990s motorbike gang member with a heart of gold.
I'm confused. What is this? What is this based on? Like,
so there's a British sitcom called Ghosts.
Do I know this?
I have, and then I don't know if you've watched it. I've also mentioned the American version, starring Rose McIver, which is very much the same concept.
Yeah, I don't recall any of these things. Okay, 2019 to 2023. Who's in the original British one? Anyone of Simon Farnaby's in it? There you go. Old mate. I don't know. Should I? This
I know.
I know it's a me question, but I don't know.
Do you love Australian content?
Full invest. You're right.
There you go.
My bad.
Did you love The Office Australia?
I've watched it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks pretty solid. Interesting cast. Like, my only thing is with the American version, they've got like a Native American as part of the cast of Ghosts, because that would make sense. Someone would die, and a Native American would die on the property. There's no, native, like Aboriginal or Indigenous Australian. But apparently, Kate, who is Tamala, who's playing one of the person who gets her head hit, is of Indigenous descent. I think that may also be because I don't know how depictions of people who have died in Indigenous.
Well, you're not
supposed to show people who died to Indigenous people, so
yeah.
That might be like a cultural decision not to include someone.
That makes sense.
Apple TV Plus has greenlighted The Husbands, a comedic drama starring Juno Temple. The 8-episode series from A24 lead writer Miriam Bayetz and lead director Craig Gillespie is adapted from author and games designer Holly Gramazio's best-selling debut novel of the same name. The Husbands has been percolating for a while. What's the description? There's a big article about how they're gonna shoot this at the same time as Ted Lasso. In The Husbands, when Lauren returns home to her flat in London late one night, she is greeted at the door by her husband Michael. There's only one problem: she's never seen this man before in her life. As Lauren tries to puzzle out how she could get married by someone she can't remember meeting, Michael goes to the attic to change a light bulb and abruptly disappears. In his place, a new husband emerges. Realizing that her attic is creating an infinite supply of husbands, Lauren confronts the question: if swapping lives is as easy as changing a light bulb, how do you know you've taken the right path? When do you stop trying to do better and start actually living? What a concept.
Yeah, full investor. Although it sounds too deep to be good.
Wow.
You know? You got to believe in
You have
love,
little
actually.
faith. Kristen Milotti has joined the FX drama pilot Seven Sisters, starring opposite the previously announced Elizabeth Olsen. In Seven Sisters from FX Productions, a large, tight-knit family begins to unravel when a sister starts communicating with a voice no one else can hear, forcing them to confront long-buried secrets. We understand Milotti will play the sister of Olsen's character in a leading role. Need to fill in the other 5 sister roles.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you know what? Full invest. She's a after Penguin. She's a
Watch Black Mirror yet?
No. I don't need to. Have you finished Penguin?
As if had been the response to fans' wishes for a Clueless follow-up with Alicia Silverstone to share. Until now, a Clueless TV series with Silverstone attached to star and executive producer has landed at Peacock for development. It is written and executive produced by Gossip Girl duo Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage of Fake Empire and Dollface creator Jordan Weiss, with the 1995 movie's writer-director Amy Heckling and producer Robert Lawrence also executive producing. Silverstone is set to reprise her signature role as Cher in the sequel series from CBS Studios. No other information, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm not investing in that. No. Sorry, but no.
You don't want to see
No, I don't.
Cher, what, 30 years
Incorrect.
after the original movie?
106? No, I'm good.
No, it's going to be really weird when Paul Rudd shows up and he looks exactly the same as when he did.
That, well, yeah, that is a, yeah.
Everybody else is age.
Yeah. That's what happens when you kill babies. I feel, yeah.
Here's an exciting pairing. Rising star Glenn Powell is teaming with filmmaker Judd Apatow on an untitled original comedy for Universal. In a move reminiscent of his work alongside Richard Linklater on Netflix's Hitman, Powell is writing the script with Apatow, continuing to cement his reputation as the rare A-list star with this kind of skill set. The project, about a country western star in freefall, is being fast-tracked by Uni, with Powell set to star and Apatow to direct.
Yeah, look, obviously Apatow's a bit of a hit and miss, but I'm fully investing in pretty much Glenn Powell's doing at this point, so. Yeah.
Last one for this week. Netflix has set a new 6-part limited series based on Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice, with Emma Corrin, Jack Lowden, and Olivia Colman to take on the beloved literary characters Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy, and Mrs. Bennet, respectively. Production will take place in the UK later this year. The streamers Pride and Prejudice is written by Dolly Alderton and directed by Euros Lynn, who will executive produce with Corrin. Do I need to explain what Pride and Prejudice is?
It's so funny. I'm fully investing in this. I feel like this is bound for glory. You know, this will definitely do well.
Yeah,
Fully
interesting. Investing. Like, I believe this week it was like the 20th anniversary of the most recent version coming out. Like the most.
Yeah. So what, the book's like 120 years. Maybe not that old, but
poor old Jane Austen. Yes, 1813 it came out. So the original novel. So what's that? 213.
That is 212.
12 years.
Yep. So I was under exaggerating.
Very much so.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, the Joe Wright, that's who it was. Keira Knightley, Matthew Garden.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the more known ones. Obviously, there was the miniseries where Colin Firth was Mr. Darcy as well.
I've watched
which ties into him appearing in the Bridget Jones films as Mr. Darcy.
I will say the Keira Knightley one was popular when I was in school.
Right about that time, right?
Yeah, I was right about that time, yeah.
All right, that's all the films to invest in this week. Let's talk about some things that are a little bit closer in this week's Thumbs for Trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we have 28 Years Later, a new trailer for this one. Directed by Danny Boyle, starring Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes. 28 years after the rage virus escaped a medical research laboratory, survivors have found ways to exist amidst the infected. One group lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single heavily defended causeway. When a father and his son leave the island on a mission into the dark heart of the mainland, discover secrets, wonders, and horrors of the outside world. So what do you think of this latest trailer for 28 years later?
Sensational! I can't wait. It looks so good. I think the visual nature of the trailer, some of the shots and stuff like that. It just looks like it's. I don't know. It looks grimy. It looks like it's like just filmed with like a documentary. There's something about the cinematography on this and the way it's been shot and just all that sort of stuff that I'm very, very keen for.
Yeah, there's 2 thumbs up as well. Like it's a really fantastic trailer. I think it's the music. It's like really cool throughout all the sound design.
Same song that they use in the teaser too.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while since I watched the teasers.
Yeah. Like 5 or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So super effective. Just like kind of the world that they're introducing here. It's like very fascinating even for somebody who hasn't watched it in the movies. We'll say, don't know that I saw Jodie Comer at any point in this trailer.
No, I don't feel like I saw her either, to be honest.
So that are they keeping her as a secret or like a reveal?
For what reason? I don't know. But...
I think we can all continue to shut down that is actually not Cillian Murphy.
It is 100% not Cillian Murphy. I'm pretty sure they already said this in interviews, didn't they?
Yeah, but
Well, the people not believe, they're like, yeah, they're trying to pull a fast one on us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle are the people really trying to do like weird cameos like that in their movies, not just out here trying to make fucking movies.
Yeah. So 28 years later, coming to Australian cinemas 19th of June. Next trailer is for Another Simple Favor, directed by Paul Feig, starring Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively, Andrew Reynolds, Bashir Salahuddin, Elizabeth Perkins, Michelle Morone, Alex Newell, Elena Sophia Ricci, Henry Golding, and Alison Janney. Stephanie Smothers and Emily Nelson reunite on a beautiful island of Capri, Italy, for Emily's extravagant wedding to a rich Italian businessman. Along with the glamorous guests, expect murder and betrayal to RSVP for a wedding with twists and turns, and more twists and turns than down the road from the Mariana Grande to the Capri town square. Dylan, you recently watched The Simple Favor. What do you think of the trailer for the follow-up?
We're one up, one down. I'm keen to watch it simply after having watched the new one. However, I'll say this trailer doesn't.
The first one.
Huh? Yeah, the first one. Sorry. So I watched it like that. I like the first movie, as we spoke about in here recently. But this trailer, one up, one down, just because it doesn't it just. I can tell there's going to be a lot of twists and stuff, and obviously the trailer's trying to hide that, which is fine because the first movie had a lot of twists and that's sort of the thing, and we know that's probably going to be a thing in this. But because of that, trailer's just very sporadic and didn't really do a lot for me. Even though I'm still keen to watch it.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I think they did a good job of because they're keeping so many twists. I think it did a good job of explaining the basic premise of Stephanie getting invited to be Emily's maid of honor, which is crazy when she effectively sent her to prison. I enjoyed the bits of banter that we saw between the two of them, and obviously Anna Kendrick's character is not going to be super trusting of Blake Lively's character, but you get wrapped up in wedding fever and crazy things seem to happen, and the additions of Alison Janney and the other paternal character are interesting. So yeah, I had a good time. I probably need to do a refresher of A Simple Favor, maybe a recap video before watching this, but yeah. This is coming to Prime Video on the 1st of May. Next trailer is for The Life of Chuck, directed by Mike Flanagan, starring Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Jacob Tremblay, and Mark Hamill. A life-affirming, genre-bending story about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man named Charles Krantz. Dylan, you're a massive Mike Flanagan fan. What do you think of the trailer for his first feature in a while?
Yeah, he's been over there making TV shows for a
Mhm.
while. Uh, Doctor Sleep was a while ago. Yeah, I'm double thumbs up. I'm super keen. This to me, I feel like if I was to be like relate this to, if I was like, this will probably be most like one of his other series, I'm gonna say it's gonna be most like Midnight Mass, which a lot of people didn't like because it's like very much an introspectual thing about life, and people thought it was gonna be more about vampires, I guess. But yeah, this is obviously introspective look at life. Um, I'm not sure what the twist is, if there is one. I haven't read the book or anything like that, or what the stuff is. I love the cast. You've got some regular Mike Flanagan uh, cast members in here again. I like that Mark Hamill's now joined him for another project, so maybe Mark Hamill's joining that list, which is good. Karen Gillan also returning after working with him early in his career, but hasn't done anything with him. Well, hasn't done anything in the TV shows with him. So Rahul Kohli's probably still in it. Also, Matthew Lillard. It's a split second in the trailer,
Yep.
so that's cool. Bringing in some horror slasher royalty a bit there, which is cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm super keen. This is probably one of my most anticipated movies currently coming soon. Not based off this trailer, like without having seen trailers, just because it was Mike Flanagan, to be honest. So, yeah, keen.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. It's like I get the impression it's not going to be like any of his horror stuff. I don't know. Obviously, Stephen King's involved, but he's
I
got some
think it's
stuff that's not horror
no, I think
adjacent.
it's meant to be more like a fantasy thing, like
Like
a
they bring up "It's a Wonderful Life" as a comparison film, so
yeah.
which is a life affirming,
And
make
they
you feel good
mentioned this.
film.
They mentioned the Stephen King non horror stuff.
Yeah,
They mentioned Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. Like
yeah,
as the comparative thing. So
Hmm.
I think you're safe to watch this one if that's what we're trying to
yeah.
work out.
And then Tom Hiddleston murders somebody right at the end.
Yeah,
That's how the film is. You can only push it on you, man, so far. Life of Chuck is coming to select theaters in the US on the 6th of June, going nationwide on the 13th of June, and coming to Australia on the 21st of August.
too far.
Yeah. Next trailer is The Roses, directed by Jay Roach, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Olivia Colman, Andy Samberg, Alison Janney, Belinda Brumlow, Sunita Mani, Shruti Gatwa, Jamie Demetriou, Zoe Chow, and Kate McKinnon. Life seems pretty easy for picture-perfect couple Ivy and Theo. Successful careers, a loving marriage, great kids, but beneath the facade of their supposed ideal life, a storm is brewing. As Theo's career nosedives while Ivy's own ambitions take off, a tinderbox of fierce competition and hidden resentments ignites. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer for a remake of Danny DeVito's The War of the Roses?
Never seen the original film, so I've nothing completely based it off. But when it's like the script's written by Tony McNamara,
McNamara?
and the trailer's this good, double thumbs up. I knew nothing about this, to be honest. I hadn't read or seen anything. Just in the dark on this one a bit. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this trailer. I was like, this looks like a great time. I opened the Google box. I see Tony McNamara has done the rewrite. I'm like, well, that says a lot. Come on, that explains a lot of the sharp dialogue and stuff. So, yeah, I'm keen.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Like, the pairing of Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman is not one you would expect, but it
No.
seems to work brilliantly.
Mm.
This married couple kind of bickering and trying to sabotage each other effectively.
Bickering or trying to kill each other? Like,
I mean, it builds. Looks like a lot of fun, and that is a comedic pairing that I want to see trying to kill each other eventually. So yeah, The Roses coming to Australian cinemas on the 28th of August. Last trailer for this week. The Fantastic Four First Steps new trailer, directed by Matt Shackman, starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Evan Moss-Bachrach, Ralph Ineson, Julia Garner, Paul Walter Hauser, John Malkovich, Natasha Lyonne, and Sarah Niles. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, the Fantastic Four must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald, Silver Surfer. What do you think of this latest look at Fantastic Four first steps?
I'm going one up, one down. I liked it more than the teaser. I still think I'm going to stand by my comments when I talked about teaser of just like there's an element of the way it looks to be shot or something like that I just find off-putting. Doesn't look like I don't know, just something is not vibing with me. And I don't know.
Hate the 60s.
Yeah, it's true. I hate
It's retro
free love,
60s.
and all that sort of stuff. I hate the Jetsons too, to be honest. So,
Wow.
yeah, look, and maybe to be honest, maybe it is like a subconscious thing about just being like trepidatious for any and all Marvel movies a little bit, especially with new characters and stuff that I don't feel safe with. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I'll go one up, one down. I'm still obviously keen to watch it and see how they explain getting them into our proper MCU universe and whatever the hell else we're doing. It's the big movie before we get the next Avengers one, so it's bound to be at least eventful, even if it's not good. But yeah.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I had a really good time. I enjoyed seeing this interpretation of all characters. I think even more I love the things designed in this. I think we get to see a lot of each of the different characters, except Reed, who is like, we don't get to see a lot of his character in the stuff shown here, outside of him kind of feeling like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, I guess.
Because he dies early in the movie.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but Joseph Quinn looks really great as Johnny Storm, and like an interesting decision to choose to go with the Susan Storm being pregnant storyline. Just what a time to be pregnant when you're facing a giant intergalactic beast. What do you think of the look of Julia Garner as Silver Surfer?
Well, I think she's not Silver Surfer. She's something or other that I've never heard of, but the internet's been happy that I've seen pointed out. I don't know. Yeah, it looks fine. Whatever. She's silver.
She's very silver. But like more realistic silver. I'm sure we will be doing a fantastic rewatch over on All New Marvel, so I'm looking forward to seeing comparisons to the Silver Surfer in Rise of the Silver Surfer and how silver that surfer is.
Say silver again.
I will say when Johnny Storm is flying through the atmosphere and is like just touches the Silver Surfer's surfboard and he gets kicked back to Earth, that was a cool shot.
The Silver Surfboard kicked Silver Surfer high into the
Fantastic Four First Steps coming to cinemas 22nd of May. Let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
This week sees the release of The Accountant 2, starring Ben Affleck. Apparently, The Accountant was a big deal.
Gonna watch it. It's on Max, I saw.
Yeah, never seen it. Yeah, so this week's top 3 is top 3 Ben Affleck films. Dylan, what's number 3?
Number 3, I've gone with Gone Girl. A movie in which I guess you could argue that his performance is very like monotone, but I think that's sort of the point, and I think he does a very good job at delivering exactly what was needed for this role, for this story, and for this particular character. And I don't think he sort of got like obviously I think Rosamund Pike deserves all the praise, and a lot of other people might have stuff, but I think his role in making this movie as good is somewhat undervalued just because it is such a specific non-loud performance. But I think it's one he does a really good job at doing.
Point out, you count in 2016. That's crazy. I thought that was only recent-ish.
No.
Only caught fire on Netflix recently. My number 3, The Way Back. One of his more recent films, in which he plays a alcoholic who is recruited to be the head coach of a high school basketball team. Everybody loves a sports movie. Everybody loves a cool redemption story. He's pretty good in it. Great endorsement. Dylan, what's number 2?
The number 2 is Chasing Amy.
My number 2 is Chasing Amy.
There you go. Wow. So Ben Affleck in this plays Holden McNeil, I think it's the character's name. A character that was introduced in Mallrats. But this is like a really interesting film from Kevin Smith in which Ben Affleck has to play a quite interesting role of this very macho sort of dude who falls in love with this character played by Joey Lauren Adams, Alyssa, Amy, who is a lesbian. and I think the film does a really good job of exploring the especially in late 90s, I can fucking turn it straight again, like that sort of mentality
Yeah.
of guys and stuff, which makes it one of Kevin Smith's more interesting films, especially for that time period. But also Ben Affleck does a really good job, like the huge back and forth between him and Joey in the car park and stuff is probably one of the highlight scenes in the film. But yeah, really good performance. That's again probably underrated because it's a Kevin Smith film.
Yeah, like you said, fantastic performance. Gave a lot of hope to those people in a situationship with lesbians. No, it is. It doesn't really happen, or they've realized they're bi now. They weren't a lesbian; they were bi or pan. It's a spectrum. It's evolving. Sexuality. Despite what the UK government will tell you. Yeah, great
Fuck you,
movie.
J.K. Rowling.
Lot of. No, I don't think she was talking about sexuality. She's all about their genders, but I'm sure that she's coming for them next. Yeah, really great movie. Kevin Smith, Ben Affleck does a great job. Dylan, what's your number one?
Number one's Argo,
Mm.
which is very good because he directed it himself. Obviously,
Yep.
This is his big Academy Award winning film, in which he plays.
Maybe
true
she was
story
robbed
of
for
this,
best director, arguably.
arguably, yeah. But yeah, he plays this dude in a true story working for the CIA, where they basically have to go into I can't remember the country off the top of my head.
It's like Iraq or like something like that.
It's definitely around
Middle
there. It's
Easty.
not Iraq. It's Middle Easty, but not Iraq. Iran?
Yeah, it could be. That sounds
Iran
right.
sounds better. Iran sounds better. Yeah. That's it. Going to get him out of Iran and do this like fake, basically movie shoot to get the 6 Americans that are holed up in the U.S. embassy there, because of like a siege, I guess that's happening in the country at the time. It is really good. Like I think obviously this is back and forth between him. It's also like something about his look in this, like Ben Affleck doing like the like the 70s almost haircut with the big facial hair and the flat haircut. Like it's a very specific look that he's never done before, and I think that helps. But he just does. Yeah, this is probably one of his. Again, it's sort of like all these roles. I feel like I'll say none of them are like super showy. This one is sort of a lot more of him like not yelling, but at least being loud at people. But it's a very interesting, nuanced character that I think he does a very good job at bringing to life, especially because it was based on a real person. Yeah, it's just a really, really good movie as well. It's a very good movie, very interesting story.
Yep. My number one is Armageddon, a film that I've professed my love for, a massive part of my childhood, and a frequently watched film during that time period. You love what you love. I can understand. Probably not one of the best movies ever made, but Ben Affleck's a lot of fun as the guy dating Bruce Willis's daughter, and also that last scene where I think he's going to sacrifice himself, but he's tricked into not sacrificing. Spoilers for a 20-something-year-old movie.
Never finished that movie.
What?
Never finished it.
Sorry, I apologize. Your opinions would change if you've just watched the end of Armageddon.
No, I've watched it in parts, and I just every time I've been like, "This movie's shit," and then stop watching it.
Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
This week, look, number one thing is TV. It's Andor. Like that is, we're going TV first this week over film. But in the movies, it's going to be Until Dawn.
What are your expectations?
Yeah, it's a film.
It's a movie.
I expected to have credits then.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I hope it's at least okay. If it's a 6, I think that's a win. Yep.
Yeah. TV front is definitely Andor. On the film front, Havoc from Gareth Evans comes out on Netflix this Friday. So with Tom Hardy. So that's my pick. And of course, Accountant 2 is coming out this week for people who love the Accountant.
I gotta watch that. I might watch that tomorrow. I think just so
you know.
catch up, just so I can catch up on the account. Yeah. It worked out well. I had in the back of my mind that movie was coming out soon because the trailer's been playing a lot the last few times I've gone to the cinema. And I was just scrolling through Max.
John
to find
Barenthal
The
looks
Last of Us.
fantastic in the movie.
He looks like John Barenthal. But then when I was scrolling through Max, it had it like front and center there, like the accountants on Max. I'm like, well, there you go. I can watch it there. Thumbs off.
Yeah. Please if you want to let us know what you want to watch this week, or let us know what the best Ben Affleck movie is, or let us know what you're excited from Star Wars Celebration by finding us on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com, or find us on social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here, or what do you want to watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.